radio operator, a weapons engineer, a firefighter.
This transition then coupled with me trying to transition with civilian life as well, and their mentality. Now, when I say their mentality, there's nothing wrong with the mentality. It's just that I'm coming from one culture and trying to migrate into another culture.
And what did you move on to do after that? You obviously enjoyed that job. I mean, the actual physical learning and the whatever, even though the transition was difficult.
I did. I got quite competent in that, and I was building big harnesses, and then I got quite competent in like the components and surface mount and building circuit boards, and then my work got fresher, it got cleaner, it got neater, it was, and then it was just doing and doing and doing. So I kind of felt that I was at a good standard, doing what I was doing there. I was there for a good while, actually, I think about 4 years. So you could treat that as an apprenticeship, if you will, my own little journey of an apprenticeship to myself.
Yeah.
And then another role came up. I started, and actually, I was in a relationship then, which meant, sort of relocating as well. So I looked around. It was the oil and gas industry, a company called Sonodyne, and their field was really interesting. So it was transducers, and these are gauges and readers that sit on the bottom of the seabed. So they would tell you if an army was inbound or if the plates was to move, and they would send that data back. So it was all acoustic stuff. I quickly learned that you could use electronics in any field, in any way. So in automotive, in aerospace, in oil and gas. And I thought, actually, if I was to stick to this, I can actually pursue it. So sometimes it's better than being a fully fledged engineer, because then you do become specialised in one field, whether it's RF or
the knowledge of that one particular focus is transferable across sectors.
So that's exactly what I did do. I went to Sonodyne and I had a really good time there. I went there as a test engineer, and again, I bitten off more than what I could chew. I did the old fake it to make it, and I applied for a job that I probably wasn't qualified for at that time, if I'm honest with you.
That's actually the polar opposite to what a lot of women are known to do. There's lots of data and studies to suggest that women are less likely to apply for something that they don't meet 100% of the criteria for than men, whereas men are much more likely. This is not me being a feminist or because I'm not, but the point is that shows absolute bravery. You've really got to think, right, I know that I don't know it all, but I back myself to learn it all and learn it quickly, which is a really important skill in life. And actually, most jobs are that, aren't they? Until you do it.
You've got to go in and do it, because I mean, like here, was I qualified for this? Probably not, because you're learning the company and the company's ways and the culture. You've got to get in and then sort of be part of it. Let's just say I was there for a couple of years or some years, and then a role came up and I was asked to apply within to project engineer, and I did do that. And then I carried on doing that role for 13 months as project engineer.
That's amazing. From fudging your way into being a wireman to the project engineer in a really short space of time, having not used any of your budget for retrain.
7-8 years.
It was after that you joined Drumgrange, wasn't it?
Not long after, because I've done a bit of contracting at McLaren because I was in between jobs. McLaren is great, but sometimes they do only employ contracting because it's all based on they get the work done, and then when the work's done, they spend their financial budget of 1 year in 1 quarter, and they get loads of contractors to get it done, bash it out, and then that's it, you go. But I mean, it was a privilege to work there. Yeah.
So when you joined Drumgrange, what role did you join them as? What was your role as you joined?
I came here as a test engineer for.
Right.
Now, the role I came from was a test engineer, but I ended up being a facilities foreman. I was a bit of everything at my last job. Now, that was a company called, well, they've changed their names a couple of times, hence why I left in the end. I loved it, and I was very passionate over them. They're called Fraser Nash, or they were, and it was a research company. And now what they did is for example, we made an electric 7.5 ton truck for Amazon. So we dabbled in different projects, and we were funded by the government and other people, and I'm not too sure who these people were. And it was family owned like this, but on occasion we wouldn't get paid, and that became tiresome. But I loved loved it there, and we had a close-knit community there, not too dissimilar here, maybe even closer actually. And once you were in, you just didn't want to leave. But lockdown came, and I did nothing, though I was still on their books, and I thought, I've got to look for something. I need structure.
Yeah.
And I even thought about rejoining the Navy, you know, because I was craving this structure. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I put my CV out.
I'm assuming you interviewed at other places as well as Drumgrange.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I say, you know, back end of 2020, I thought, right, I'm going to do it. It kept me awake for 2 nights because I really wanted this other company to work. I thought, no, I'm going to put my CV out. I made the decision. I didn't sleep because I hold on to things, right? You know, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm quite loyal. But then nothing came back, and I was like, oh. But then in January, all this activity started. So I think maybe it was just a Christmas thing. People just wanted to get Christmas out of the way, and they weren't looking at stuff like that. Because in January, the activity just kicked off, and I got quite a few emails. So 3 came up, and one was for a radio company in Croydon.
Okay.
I explored that, and at the time it was a Teams or Zoom interview. Then went to a second interview, and I was successful in that one. I said yes because I had nothing else at the time, and it didn't really excite me. And actually, he was making a few cover-ups that wasn't too dissimilar to the last company. He said, we're going through the process of changing our name, and I was like, oh yeah,
I've been here, got the T-shirt, yeah.
There was another one as well. I think it was one of the universities, like some sort of lecturing, which was a bit of a newbie. And I got called up for second interview for that one. And again, it was on Zoom and Teams. And this was all new to me, all this stuff. But this is the way that the world went and changed as a result of COVID, right? But in the meantime, this one had come up as well. And I'd just secured a first interview. So I'd said yes to the Croydon one. I was waiting for an offer, and it was looking promising for the university one. I think it was Holloway. And then it did come through, and I said yes to that. But then I'd had the interview for this, and I was like, I really like this.
This one.
This is what I'm talking about, this one right here. I could see myself here. I got the warm feeling. There was a connection on the interview, even though it was like this. I got the company. I read about the company, the products. I've operated them. I've seen them. It was surreal, you know. And it was like coming full circle, really, from and
it's because it's family run and family owned still, and it's deep rooted in, you know, defence and military connections.
Yeah.
There's a familiarity in that, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is, and I like that. I really like that. It makes you want to get involved more, be part of it.